Welcome to the Dork Forest. Jackie and her pals will never bore us. Shameless confessions
about our obsession
will make us laugh and smile. So let's explore the Dork Forest and dork out for a while.
Hey, it's Jackie Cation. Welcome to the Dork Forest. You know the websites, JackieCation.com, DorkForest.com, TheDorkForest.com. If you like a determiner, family, pet, ancestry. If you like that joke that I made and then bought a URL because it made me laugh. Anyway, let's do the credits. Mike Rickberg composed and sang that song you just heard. He sang it with his wife, Sarah Cohen. He will sing again his words to the Mexican hat dance at the end of the program. Vilmos fixes the website, JackieCation.com, and Patrick Brady is going to fix this audio. There are many ways to support the show, including buying the items that are advertised if they are of any interest to you. I check them out, try to make sure that they are good. So that's what you should do if you like the idea of some of the items that are being advertised. You could also just donate to the show if you like. The PayPal buttons are on JackieCation.com and DorkForest.com, and you can just donate to the show. I haven't made it super easy for you to donate regular, but I think PayPal has. You can also Venmo me money if you don't like PayPal. My email address is Jackie@JackieCation.com for such an event. You can support the show by using the Amazon button or banner on JackieCation.com or DorkForest.com. It's just a portal, brings you over to Amazon. You order like normal. It supports the show. Other ways is you can get merch. If you like the idea of a Dork Forest t-shirt, there's 2 different styles. All the shirts that I sell on JackieCation.com are union made here in America. So they run a little big, just so you know. They're Bayside union t-shirts out of Arkansas. So other than that, you can just talk up the show. You could review it on iTunes or tell your friends and family, this type of thing. You do whatever you need to do to support the show. On the merch page, if you want to support my stand-up comedy, you can buy my CDs or DVD. Everything's available digitally on Amazon and iTunes and all the places where you download audio. Because you can stream it on Spotify and Pandora and all of those things. And my DVD is actually streaming if you don't want to own a hard copy of the DVD, which is only available on JackieCation.com. But if you only want to stream it and just watch it, it's called This'll Make an Excellent Horcrux. It is a version of that hour, and it is on comedyfilmnerds.com on their store page. If you have listened to all of the episodes of The Dork Forest, there are probably a dozen or 20 premium episodes over at thedorkforest.bandcamp.com. They're just live episodes that cost me a couple of bucks to put up. So, I charge you a couple of bucks, but there's hundreds and hundreds of free episodes. But if you run out, you can go to thedorkforest.bandcamp.com and get some live episodes if you like. There is a calendar on JackieCation.com that tells you where I'm doing stand-up comedy. Follow me on Twitter and Snapchat and Instagram and all the things at Jackie Cation. Enough. Let's get into the show. It's Jackie Cation. I'm in my living room, you guys, and I'm with Steve-O Dockerson. Dockerson? It's Dockerson. And we know each other from the internet.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yes.
And it's great. This is my dream come true with the Dork Forest, quite honestly, is that I get to meet people who are like, I'm a dork. Seriously. This is a thing that I like a lot. Can I talk about it for an hour? And so we're going to do it. Steve-O Dockerson. Now, hobthetroll.com is your website.
Yes.
At Hob the Troll.
It's my Twitter.
That's your Twitter. And you portray a troll.
Yeah, I'm a singing bridge troll.
At Ren Faire.
Yeah.
That's awesome. First of all, that's outstanding. Is Pet Smells your full-length album?
Yes.
Is that on Amazon and stuff?
No.
Is it just on hobthetroll.com?
Yeah, and it's
covers.
As I have.
Is it a Beatles song? Wouldn't it be nice?
That's. Is
that a Beatles song?
That's Beach Boys.
Oh,
because it's from Pet Sounds, so it's Pet Smells. Mm-hmm. And then my new album is going to be called 50 Million Hob Fans Can't Be Found, and I'm starting off with covering Elvis. So
right. Aren't you psyched that we aren't doing music? As I thought that was the Beatles and it's the Beach Boys.
That's all right.
You're doing music later today, though. You're going to go do the Pat Francis podcast, right? It's
Rock
called
Solid.
Rock Solid.
Yeah.
You guys, those of you who are waiting for that music podcast that you've always wanted, Pat Francis is a great comic, too. So you got to love that.
Yeah.
So, Steve-O, here's what I've been to one Ren Faire. Mm-hmm. One would think that I had been to more Ren Fairs because I love the idea. and I love the idea of dressing up, and I love the idea of playing with axes.
Yep.
So I don't know why I wouldn't have been to more Ren Fairs, but I've only been to one.
Was it the one here?
It was one here out in
Okay.
the boons, some sort of county fairy kind
Yeah.
of looking thing, and it was probably 10 years ago, and
Because they're everywhere.
they're totally
Like
everywhere.
they're in every state, and everybody, there are circuits that people do where people are, run the same ones. They do that every year, and
Right, they're sort of like, I mean, Comic-Con's kind of taken their example from Ren Fair, I think.
I wouldn't be surprised in terms of the model. Yeah,
Yeah, just because it's a great way to get a bunch of nerds in one place and then sell them stuff.
yeah. And then I know
So-
people who also do the Renfest circuit, and then between gigs are like, oh, I can't go over to this show. I'll go and do this Comic-Con. This
Oh, so
whatever.
people are performing at both of them too,
Well,
which makes sense too.
Yeah, but also, in terms of like fight stuff and stage shows, but
Oh,
then
yeah.
also vendors who, like I've got a friend who does flasks and shrunken heads.
Oh,
And,
cool.
She does that and at festivals, but also will do Comic Cons and stuff like that as well.
Okay. Yeah, because there's an adult beverage in a flask. That's how you want to drink an adult beverage,
Right.
or at least that's how I always wanted it. I always thought this is classy.
With a monster's face on it now.
Right.
'Cause why
a
not?
skull, a nice skull or something, or some crossed swords.
Yeah.
That's good times. So I did talk to one woman, my favorite author. It's a very old episode. The sound quality is not great. Cage Baker is one of my favorite authors, and she was at the very first Ren Fair in San Francisco or something like that.
Yeah.
And then she went to it for like 15 years, and then like people who like bands that become popular, she was like, it's sold out, man. And I was like, yeah, I think that was what they wanted to.
Yeah.
From the get. They really wanted to make some money.
Yeah.
So she then turned her attention to something called the Dickens Festival or something.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Because there's a couple of more of those as well.
Yeah.
Some of my friends, one of my buddies who does the festival circuit, he does a Dickens festival in New York.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
And,
that makes sense.
yeah.
That's now franchised to some extent. So what was the first Ren Fair? Have you always gone to Ren
Yeah.
Fairs? Like,
Yeah.
did your parents take you to Ren Fairs?
Yeah. Well, so I grew up in rural Michigan.
How rural? UP?
No, not that rural. We're an hour between Detroit and Flint in each direction.
Oh, wow.
So,
But not against the lake?
no.
Okay, so I know
I'm doing the
Traverse
dumb
City.
thing with my hand.
Do the
So
dumb thing
right
with your
there.
hand.
So here's Detroit. Here's Flint. We're right there.
Okay.
And right outside the big festival that they have in Michigan, the
Right.
Michigan Renaissance Festival. And for me, like,
okay.
there was nothing to do in my town. There were 3 stoplights. There was a McDonald's that they built when I was like 14.
Right.
There was no bowling alley. There was no movie theater. There was nothing.
Right.
There was absolutely
Did you
nothing.
guys have a hospital?
No.
Where was the nearest hospital?
You had to go to
The next town over?
You had to go to urgent cares in like Clarkston, and then
Okay.
or drive a half hour to Troy or whatever. Which is
Okay.
where my mom worked.
Right. Troy was sort of the big town that had probably a bowling alley, a movie theater, and a hospital.
Well, Clarkston had that, but so there was really nothing for me to do. And then like when I was around 12 or so, my parents are like, "Oh, we're gonna go to this thing. You can't go yet." And I'm like, "Oh, okay." Now I definitely
What is
want
it?
to go.
Yeah.
And then they took me the next year. I'm like, "Oh, this is the best thing ever."
Okay.
And it's just there are swords and there are people who are
Right. We're wearing layers of things that are probably want to be made out of leather.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you were like 12 or 13
Mm-hmm.
the first one you went to. And so tell me the structure. I don't even know. What is the structure of the Ren Fair?
Okay, so there are there are the patrons. Those are all the guests who come in.
Right. And you can dress.
Yes.
And you're encouraged to dress.
Well, there's another level to that. So the patrons are just everybody coming in on the street. You're in your street clothes.
Okay.
Just coming in. Hey, I'm going to have a good time.
Right.
And
I
then-
need a large turkey leg and a corn.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. And for the people in Michigan, they want to get a turkey leg, they want to see Dead Bob, and they want to go home. Maybe they'll see a joust if they make it that far. If there's,
there might be a joust?
Yeah.
Of course there's a joust. Why wouldn't there be a joust?
Yeah.
Okay.
So then, among the people who come and dress up, there are the participatrons.
Okay.
Which that's our vernacular for it.
Right.
Where they come and dress in costume, and some of them have season passes, and they're there all the time.
You could buy a season pass.
Oh yeah.
Because how long does it usually run? A month?
About 6.
Or wait, is it every weekend or is it all week?
It's weekends.
Okay, it's not like the state fair.
No.
Okay, so it's weekends for maybe 2 months or something, right?
About like that.
Okay, so maybe there might
longer,
be there might be 8 weekends. There might be more. There might be less. Okay,
Texas is huge. I think it's
the whole summer.
Well, it's winter.
Oh, right, because it's Texas.
But so there's the participations, and then above that, and not in terms of just like.
Right, no hierarchy.
Yeah. So then there's people who work at the fair, and then you've got your
right. They're making a rate.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yes, you've got people who work food service, and a lot of them are some are doing volunteer work in exchange for
free tickets.
Tickets and also fundraisers.
Oh, okay.
And I don't.
there's like they're like connected boosters. With charity work and stuff.
Like
that's
if you
cool.
want to raise money for your band, you can be like, we're gonna my band kids are gonna go and pick up trash,
right,
and raise money for band, which is super cool.
That is really cool. And if you can get a French horn player, maybe they could play a tune.
Yeah.
Do the band kids? Because I was in marching band, and we would go to like the Six Flags, and then we'd do parades and stuff. But we never went to anything that was themed.
Well, sometimes there'll be like a choir director will be like, "Hey, do you guys need a madrigal group?" And like, so then you start getting into some more of the performance people. So there are people who are like special. We're going to be here this one weekend, or we're going to do this or that. And then the people who have booths and vendors. And, people who make stuff.
Okay, so there's a variety of different levels of sort of worker bees, right? So there's the people who run it, food service, set up, take down,
management, all that
stuff. I knew a guy who sold the corn. He said that he would trade corn for turkey legs, and he never wanted to eat either of those two after the month and a half of doing that. So there's the site crew and all those people, sort of the make it work people.
Right.
There's the vendors who come in to sell stuff, like you have always wanted a corset, and by God, that person makes them.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
And they'll teach you how to lace them up.
There's classes and
you'll learn there. But then there's also like we also have especially on school days, which is like
like for field trips maybe.
Yeah, and that's its own hell on earth.
Right, I'm sure are there falconers? Does anyone ever come who's like, I'm a falconer, I'm going to show...
I know several people who are falconers.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah, so they own falcons?
Yeah. They have owls and kookaburras and vultures and stuff.
What's a kookaburra?
It's those, it's the Foley in all the jungle movies that...
Oh, yeah.
Those birds, they're Australian, and they're great, and they eat a bunch of mice. It's hilarious.
Wow, all right.
And then there's jousters.
Oh, right.
And then
on horseback?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's how jousting is done.
Yeah.
So good. How big is a Ren Fair? Like how
big?
Like it's got to be acres, right?
Oh yeah.
It's got to be the size of the state fair or something. Just because.
About yeah.
Because you have to have a large track if people are going to run it. Have you ever jousted?
No.
So
a hard time doing a push-up.
Well, fair. So, but you've seen a great deal of jousting.
Yeah. I'm like, it's when I go there, like, if I'm going to one and I'm not performing at it, I'm going to see other stage acts, and that's there's like my friends do the mud show, the Splatter Time Players, and they built a tower and they dive into mud, and they splatter people. There's
that's
washing
the whole
they do my buddies they do they're trying to see who controls this mud show, so they have like here a bunch of stories where the joke at the end is somebody falls in mud.
Oh, okay.
And however
Right.
they get to that,
They just have to lead someone to mud.
Yeah.
You can't make them fall in, though. You got to push them.
right.
So, here's my next question about
Yes.
jousting. Is it like wrestling where they know in advance who's going to win? Is it staged?
there are both kinds.
Okay.
And different fairs do different kinds. Like there's some where it is like wrestling,
Okay.
and
And it's a show, and they've practiced, and it's cool looking.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
where there's like
Oh, and there's a lot of sort of like medieval knights. Mm-hmm. I've been to one of those.
Yeah.
Where I had a Cornish game hen. Sure.
so there's that,
And
then,
Pepsi, weirdly.
Well, there's turkey. People, going back to the turkey legs. People weren't walking around with turkey legs at the Renaissance. There weren't even turkeys in England.
Right,
but the
right.
reason that is because everyone associates that picture of King Henry.
Yeah.
But that's a leg of lamb.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Wow, that
But
guy.
You can't have a leg of lamb walking
You can't
around.
sell a leg of lamb. A turkey leg's already too big.
Yeah.
So,
I want them to sell a leg of lamb.
but kind of.
I want to eat
lamb. A whole leg of lamb.
Yeah.
You're like, maybe it'd be like a picnic kind of thing where they'd be
Yeah.
like, you and 4 of your friends could buy a bucket of beers.
Right.
And a leg of lamb.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's what you get.
But then there's also, so there's that, and then there's also the people who do it
I
like
didn't know that about the leg of lamb. Yes.
competitively for,
Like rodeos.
yes, and like where it's like a point system and all of that for jousting, and there's so there's different kinds of jousting, and it's whatever they have, and then there's usually some people who are on resident cast, and then a fight team where they'll do like the human combat chess match.
What's a human combat chess match?
It's set up like a chess match, and people like there's also scenarios for the day. So like
I'm thinking of the first Harry Potter movie.
yeah, if you
At the end of the Harry Potter movie when they're on horses and he's like rook to whatever.
it's kind of like that.
Okay.
But it's like so the other fair I do in Tampa, that's kind of like their thing for the day. So like if you come in the morning, you watch the king and queen enter, and like,
Okay.
hey, here we are, here's the village. Oh, what's happening? Oh, there's these you say you own part of this town. Well, we'll decide this on the human combat chess match, and it lets them. It's a thing. If you're going to be there all day,
Oh, right.
you can watch that as part of the.
There's
thing
a whole story arc of the day. So
that you can either pay attention to or not to. It's whatever you want to do.
okay, yeah. So if there's, it's sort of like those interactive plays that you can go to where the play's going on all over the house, but if you sit in the living room, you see a different play than if you
Yes.
sat in the kitchen. So, oh, that's weird.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's obviously exhibition sword fighting. Like that's when the one that I went to, there wasn't enough stuff happening, other people for me to watch. It was more just a cool mall. And
Yeah.
then there was like fair games where you could throw
Right.
hatchets at balloons. And I want to throw hatchets at
They,
balloons.
they put a so I do Hob the Troll, and then I do another show called The Bastard Monks,
Okay.
and that show is filthy. And they put an axe throw pub right next to our stage.
Yeah. That was the whole.
That was it worked.
Was it
ended up
loud?
working. It kind of was loud.
Okay.
but they were trying it out, and it was just it was a good way to like have them come to the stage because they saw that they're like, oh, we're doing that. And we're like, hey, you want to hear some dick jokes? Come on over to this show.
Oh, there you go.
Perfect.
Fair enough. Okay.
Yeah.
So the what's the thing that isn't Hob the Troll? What did you just call
Bastard
it?
Monks.
The Bastard Monks. It's a stand-up show.
It's a stage show. It's an adult stage show, but there's also like close to stand-ups. There's a
Right. If people are storytelling and telling jokes, that's stand-up.
yeah. There's
And then-
there's Christoph the Insulter, who's a mercenary, and like the insults get worse the more you
Right.
pay him, and then like Arthur Greenleaf Holmes, who's just the filthiest poet ever.
Okay.
And-
So he's got limericks and whatnot.
Yes.
And yes. So there's all of that, and then there's probably jugglers.
Yes.
There's people who can. Are they juggling things that are anachronistic, or they try to? Yeah. Is it? I mean, some people want it to be of the time, and other people want to wear their Deadpool costume.
Yeah. Oh
Right?
God damn it. So yeah, different fairs have different kinds of vibes.
Okay.
Like the Sterling and the Bristol Fair, it's very accurate. It's very just in the moment and very like everything is period. And then there's other fairs.
Is that in England, Bristol? Or no, wait.
That's in that's the one in the border of Illinois and Wisconsin.
Okay. Okay, because this is all Midwestern fairs that you're mostly doing or talking about so far, right? Yeah. Have you done exotic destination Ren fairs?
Charlevoix, that was about it. And that was just because somebody had a castle and they're like, hey, let's do it here. Anyway.
Yeah, if you have a castle. You're going to want to use that in the plot.
But, and then there's other ones where it's just a little bit more, not like fantasy.
Okay.
Kind of like storybook. Okay,
so Lord of the Ringsy kind of stuff versus sort of realistic. Hey, let's die of dysentery and childbirth, right? Okay, and then, but as you walk through the Ren Fair too, there's players, right?
Yeah, and that's lane acts, and that's usually what I do. That's Hob the Troll is considered a lane act.
Lane being a walkway.
Yes.
Okay, a lane act. Okay, now do they hire you? A stand-up comic question.
Yeah.
Who books that? But is it so the fair hires you to work?
Right, but we're sending out like you send out avails. We send out packages like here's what I do. Here's this.
Do you want me at your fair?
Yeah.
Essentially. And will you cover these things? Yeah. Kind of thing. Oh, that's awesome. And so there's stage acts, there's lane acts, and then there's just...
And then there's music acts.
Okay.
Yeah.
And are the music acts... Sometimes they're just on the side of the lane too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then sometimes they're on a stage and performing.
Right, there's bigger stages and then just sort of pop-up music is what it tends to look like anyway, but it's probably not. It's orchestrated, right? So organized. Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. And then is there now at Comic-Cons there's a dealer room. Is there sort of a dealer area or a merchant area?
It's as you're walking around.
Oh, the whole thing, it can be kind of set up.
It's kind of like, and the way that when I was a kid going like, oh, this is like a medieval village.
Okay.
Where they're all selling their stuff, and over here's where, you can get the mugs, and here's that, and there's a stage next to it, and they space it out so you're not interfering with anybody else's sound or anybody else's crowd or anything like that.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then so is it is it interspersed? So there's like a place to buy your potion bottles, and then next to that there might be a place to buy beer or food, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so because it is set up like a village. Yeah. I went to the Harry Potter world, so it's like that, but like in a field.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. So essentially, this has been building towards a Harry Potter world for their entire lives. They're
but then there's other shows that are like there's shows that have permanent structures that stay up all year.
Oh,
and then there are tent shows.
Okay,
where everybody brings their tent, and then this stage is brought in storage, and they bring it out and set it up.
Right. So and now your album, which of course we're talking to Steve O'Dockerson, you guys, and it's at Hob the Troll on Twitter and hobthetroll.com. So. You said you play, if not all, most of the instruments on this album.
Yes. Well, so I play, and I'm kind of a specialist act, which is kind of, it's kind of messed me up in a couple ways because I have submitted to other shows, and they're like, wait, what do you play?
Right.
And I'm like, oh, what
would you like me to play?
I play, my whole shtick is I have I've had various instruments, guitar, banjo, accordion.
Oh.
And right now I have a ukulele, a baritone ukulele, a toy piano, and a kazoo, and I have two baskets out in front of me. One that says "Keep Singing," and the other that says "Hush Money." And people pay me to stop.
Right.
And I play the most anachronistic songs. Because,
such as?
Well, on this album, it's the Beach Boys.
Right. There's that Beach Boys song.
There's Mr. Blue Sky.
Which is that song?
Yellow.
Yellow. Okay. Electric
play,
Liberation Army. Yes.
Right. Prince.
Okay.
And people will.
They're like, you're harshing my vibe, man. We're in the Middle Ages. Stop playing Prince.
And I say to them. in character, I say, well, trolls aren't real. We've already gone the willing suspension of disbelief. Let's just have a time. But, it's...
Yeah. So it's just you'll play anything. Do you play a lot of... I picture a lot of Greensleeves. That's the only song I know from the time.
There's a lot of... There are bands and there are musicians who play period-accurate music all the time. And
okay. Is it amazing to watch?
It is.
There you go.
It is. I don't.
You are not that man.
I do something else.
You are not that troll.
Right.
Fair enough. Yeah.
And sometimes, and what I've heard from people, and like what I like about it is that it's a little bit of a relief because they're like, I don't know any of these songs, or for somebody just coming in, but like, oh, is that CCR? Is that troll playing CCR? Okay, all right,
right. It's just you're like, I've always wanted to hear. Is that Creedence Clearwater Revival? Yeah. There you go. All right.
And since I'm not, I don't really play the full song because usually people pay me to stop. Fair use.
Oh, fair enough. Oh, there you go. Fair enough.
Yeah.
It's what'd you do with the album? Did you have to pay?
Yeah, and I think when this album's done, I only have a couple. I bought the licensing rate for X amount of units.
Right.
So after that's up, I'm going to see if it's going to
worth reprinting and all that.
Yeah, or I'm just going to work on another one. Yeah.
It turns out there's millions of songs.
Yeah.
It could be the rights to 12 other songs or whatever.
And also, I don't think anybody's going to care.
Right. Like, it's just, though, of course, you want...
Yeah, I want to make sure...
I want to make sure the Beach Boys aren't living check to check.
Right.
It's, which I don't think they are. But they might be. Who knows? What's happening? It's, okay. So,
But it's a lot like, for me, going back to when I first saw this, it was the first time I saw a live performance of anything.
Okay.
And, people doing live music, people doing live comedy.
Right.
Because there was nothing else going on, and just the idea of, like...
it could be this.
Yeah. And that there are people who, if circumstances were different, would be doing stand-up, would be writing for this or that, but they're like, oh, I'm just doing this instead because this is my community.
Right, this is what I fell into because I love to hang out at these things. And they're like, well, you're funny. Mm-hmm. Why don't you tell funny stories wearing a leather jerkin?
Right.
And they're like, oh, I'll totally do that. And then because I know people that do stand-up at like comic book conventions, and they're like, I bet you I could do stand-up not at a comic book convention. So has it ever led to that, you doing performance not at a Ren Faire?
I've written stuff.
But you haven't gone to open mics?
I've gone to open mics. But I don't do the same. I don't do, it's not the same material.
Right, of course. Yeah, I mean, which is, I don't know if that's a relief or...
It's its own thing.
Right. It would be, you would have to want to write something else, But if you love what you're doing, you're like, no, I'm good.
Yeah, but you have to have the same, a lot of the same skills in terms of like crowd work.
Yeah.
And dealing with hecklers because they've been outside in the sun and they've been day drinking. And you can tell, because they'll have the cups stacked. And you can see how drunk they are by how high the stack is.
Yep.
And it's weird because they're drunk.
You get
and they're
6
heckling,
solo cups, and you've been drinking beers all day long,
and they have a sword.
Right.
So you gotta be able to shut that down
exactly.
in a way that's gonna be
right. It's and there's no protection.
Well,
but everybody's a good sport usually, right?
Yeah, and there there's security.
Okay.
But and there's in any industry, there's code words that people listen for.
Right.
Like, oh, okay, that's going down. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Why don't you get this guy a beer?
Right.
And I'm going to get you a beer on the way out of this place. Is often in stand up. They'll be like the door guys will be like, just say you want me to buy a guy a drink. And then I'll go get that guy, take him out to the bar, and then keep him moving all the way out the door because he's a piece of work.
Yeah.
So there's code words and stuff like that. And, well, that's kind of fascinating. It's, so, all right, so right now you're playing a kazoo and a toy piano and...
a baritone uke all at once.
All at once.
Yeah. because I just figured, I should, I don't really care about sounding bad.
Right.
Because if I sound bad, people are going to pay me to stop. And it's actually, like, that's how I learned how to play the accordion, is I bought one.
Okay.
And I'm like, all right, if I'm going to be bad, here we go.
Watch this.
And then I learned, and then, like, I got better just by playing, because I'm out there for hours, and like, okay, I figured this out.
Right. So, yeah, what musical training do you have? Do you have any?
I took piano lessons as a kid, and then I was in bands in school, and after that, but
just the piano?
In terms of just, like,
as far as lessons and stuff, so you can read music.
Kinda.
Okay, it's sort of, because the thing is I used to be able to read music. Mm-hmm. It's definitely atrophied, and what little musical talent I had has gone the way of all things. But now you can play more by ear than anything, I bet.
It is, and my hands know songs that my brain doesn't.
Right.
Where I have been, because every so often people will put in $1 and, like, request a song. And Freebird is never okay.
Right.
It's the equivalent of having somebody scan a thing. Does that mean it's free? No. No, the answer is always no. Someone
made a joke. I played D&D last night, and it was Riley Silverman is this woman comic who lives here. And she said that she loves to play Free Griffin. And so...
If someone were to say that, I'm like, okay,
I'll
pretty
try.
good. But I'm not going to play.
I'm still not playing it.
But that was the other, like, that was the thing where, I played a little bit of D&D as a kid, but this was like, and I haven't done the LARPing.
Okay. Live action role playing games.
But there's a lot of crossover.
Right, because this is mostly just in character playing music all day long.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so have you got to meet, like, are all of your best friends people from this world?
Yes.
Yeah.
And the community is it's so fantastic. There's a group, it's called Rescue. It's Renaissance Entertainers, Servicers, Crafters United. And what it is, it was started as a thing that, like, because people are on the road all year round, it provides health care.
Oh,
and,
okay.
An advocacy group to, like,
so it's
if somebody
like
has,
a union, but
kind of. If somebody has, bills, they'll say, hey, Rescue, here's the paperwork, and then somebody will say, okay, we can talk down your bills to this, or we can find, like, this is a doctor in your area who will work with us.
Okay.
And then we have rescue rallies, which are like,
big shows that are benefits.
Yes.
Okay.
Where
all the money goes to sort of throw at somebody who's been doing this forever and doesn't have the full healthcare benefit kind of thing. So it's not a real, like, it's not codified.
It's a nonprofit. It's a like, in terms
it's
of
a GoFundMe before a GoFundMe, and made by the community for the community.
And it's for everybody. Like, if you worked, if you're a stage act, or if you worked selling turkey legs,
right? And you can talk to them and say, this is what's happening, and they sort of review what they can do and how much they can help, kind of thing. Yeah. And
all of my really, really close best friends all work the circuit and do that, and it's seasonal, so I don't get to see them all the time. But it's like, it's this show, I'll get to see this person doing
it. Right. It's sort of, it's got to have kind of a camp vibe too.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's the other thing, is we're out at, like, during the week. Like, if I'm like, every a lot of places have campgrounds. Some of them on the sites themselves.
Okay.
And that is itself, like, Monday through Friday, just
in between shows, in between weekends, you guys camp. Yeah. And so there's s'mores and...
Well, we have the place to ourselves. It's, it's a lot of Xbox through extension cords that, are way too long. And
sure, that doesn't seem safe, but fair enough. Yeah. But, the journey continues. Mm-hmm. And so, because they don't... You're not being put up in Best Westerns and Hampton Inns. You're mostly camping. Or you're doing day driving? Like you driving, going to the event, and going home?
And it's like, it depends on, where your home base is. There are some people who have stage acts or work vendor booths just at they only do the one show, and then the rest of the time they're CPA during the week.
Oh, right.
Or whatever.
So day jobs and stuff.
And then there are people who they just live on the road, and then Monday through Friday, I'm out of this certain thing. I'm gonna work this whole week and make a whole bunch of these, or I'm gonna try this new juggling trick.
Okay, so they work on their craft during the week. But where do they live? I mean, do they?
Depends.
Some of them camp.
Some of them camp. Some of them stay with friends. It's
right, because that's true too. Is that the community is that you must know enough people in every town that's adjacent to every Ren Faire that you've done.
Yeah, where
you're like, yeah, you can stay in our basement. We have a guest room. We have a guest house. We have a thing.
Park your trailer on my property over here.
Oh, right. I'm sure there's motorhomes and stuff.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah, that would make total sense because it could be like a work area and a living space, but on the road for 9 gallons, 9 miles a gallon.
Right.
But it's not any worse than paying rent, so it's fine.
Yeah,
that's fascinating. So, what do you usually do?
Right now I'm only doing. So I live in Florida now, but I used to live in Michigan.
Do you? Where do you live in Florida?
St. Pete.
Okay, that's in the north.
Yeah,
I believe
it's right next to Tampa.
Okay,
so
there you go.
I saw you.
I work with Maria at the improv that's too many floors.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
You handed me a little pile of stickers, and when I saw you, I'm just like, this is the best person.
Thank you.
How do I be friends with this person?
Well, step one.
But so when I lived in Michigan, there were I worked at the big one.
Right.
And there were a couple other ones that I would work. There was a smaller one called Silverleaf, which was a tent show. And that was 4 or 5 weekends before Michigan. Mm-hmm. So I did that one, and I would just drive back and forth.
Okay.
And
because it was only an hour or so? Or?
Yeah. And then Silverleaf stopped being a thing, and, I met a gal and got married
happen.
and...
Okay, so you're all married?
Yeah.
Living in St. Pete?
Yeah.
Okay. Does she work with the peoples?
No.
Okay.
She's in insurance.
Oh, okay. So she has a real job, sort of like Andy Ashcraft, who for many years was like, no, I have a job, and it's a game design job, so it's a delight. But so that's awesome. And then, okay, all right, so. Is it international, the Ren Faire world?
There are other festivals that people do. I know a bunch of musicians who will go and they'll do music festivals over here, or Celtic music festivals, that kind of stuff. Or there's also cruises that people do. But,
oh, wow.
In terms of the Washing Well Wenches do a cruise, but in terms of
who does a cruise?
The Washing Well Wenches.
The Washing what wenches?
Washing Well Wenches.
What is that?
That's a show. Oh my God! They are. It's a troupe. There's a lot of them.
There's a lot of them,
and they section out okay, you're doing this show, you're doing this show, you're doing this show. But they do a comedy show where they dive into the washing well. They do comedy. That's great. It's wonderful.
It's sort of like there's literally a giant pool of some sort.
Yeah, wash bin.
That's like a wash bin. And they will jump into it, and then get out, and then do comedy.
Yeah, they'll take their.
It's an old timey wet T-shirt contest,
kind of, but they ugly themselves up.
Right, and they're wearing 1,000 layers of nonsense because it's old timey clothes.
Yeah, their teeth are blacked out. It's
okay, so it's not played for. Hey, these are my tits.
Right.
But I'm
if
sure
they are, they squeak.
Right. Oh, that's hilarious.
Yeah.
Okay, so the Washing Well Wenches.
Yes.
No, I totally want to see that.
Oh yeah.
And so they play the cruise ships?
Yeah, they have they do a cruise ship. They do a cruise around. But when I've tried to explain, I got a bunch of friends in England, I have a bunch of friends in Ireland, and when I try to explain what I do, it's we dress up and we pretend it's where you live a whole bunch of time ago.
Right, and it's not, and it doesn't have to be real.
Right.
It can be real, but it sure doesn't have to be. It just has to be fun.
And you were talking about, people, the Deadpool.
Yeah.
So right now it's people dressing as Deadpool, and they think they're hilarious.
Oh, of course.
They are not. And
Or does it drive the regulars mad?
Goddamn bonkers.
Yeah.
Because it's just like, I'm working. Let me do this.
Right.
I know
you want to be funny.
And I understand the desire. If you want to do that, get a job doing this.
Right. Right. Or start essentially a Marvel fair.
Yeah.
I'm sure a Marvel fair would be actually hilarious.
It would be great. But before they were all coming as the Deadpool, they were all coming as Captain Jack Sparrow.
Oh.
Before that, it was the Joker. And it's just people dressing in a way that's like, hey, that character's an asshole. I'm kind of an asshole. I'll dress up and I can do this. And it's like, oh, you're not.
Finally, the stars are aligned so that I can dress as a fake asshole so I can be a real asshole.
But like, there are also the people who like the Doctor Who people come in as Doctor Who.
Oh yeah,
and I've got my own jokes about them that I do.
Sure.
With it, and my favorite thing to do is just misidentify them from one of the actor's other roles.
Oh, that's kind of hilarious.
So like, if there's a guy walking around as David Tennant,
okay,
it's always. Hob the Troll, you leave Jessica Jones alone.
Okay.
She's a nice lady. That kind of stuff.
Right. And just because you're like, I will out-asshole you because I see 3 of you a day or 30 or whatever.
But they're always they have a pretty good time with that because they're like, okay, you're having fun, but I'm not being made fun of.
Yes.
And then there are people who will come as they think it is Comic-Con.
Yeah.
And they're cosplaying from Supernatural, and I'm like, okay, have a good time.
Right.
And furries will come, have a good time. Your fur head's going to be really hot and sweaty.
Right.
So drink water.
Right. To stay hydrated. Stay hydrated. And are you an owl bear? What's happening?
Yeah. And if I'm performing, please respect the space.
Right.
Because people are going to want to take your pictures because you look great. So just stand over there because they also want to take my picture too.
Right. Because we're all in this. Yeah. And go have the time of your life.
Don't block my baskets. I got to make some money.
Please do not cock block my baskets. Right. And fair enough. It's wow.
And different fairs will have the different theme weekends.
What's a Dean weekend?
Themed weekend.
Oh, theme. Okay.
So there's
how's my hearing today? Good Lord. Anyway, go.
Shamrocks and Shenanigans, the Irish weekend, and they'll have Celtic games and that kind of stuff.
Okay.
Or
and you could buy a shillelagh.
Yeah.
And get yourself a nice hit and stick.
Yep.
Who doesn't want a hit and stick? Right. And which is what a shillelagh. I just found that out because of Deadpool. Right. Because Black Tom.
Oh yeah.
Is in the new Deadpool movie, and he's got a shillelagh, which I was like, isn't that a dick joke? And someone was like, except for it's not, because it's an actual thing. It's a stick. And I was like, oh, okay, fair enough. I've weeded off. Again, I am so sorry. So, themed weekend, Irish.
But there's also started bringing a little bit more steampunk weekends.
Okay. And I love a steampunk.
It's the time traveler.
Oh, yeah.
And, I have...
Hit and miss.
Yes. It's always... tongue planted firmly in cheek when we're talking about time travel.
Yes.
Just you're traveling through time and you decide to come to...
How's your dirigible?
Right.
Yes. Do you have old-timey typewriter that you walk around with?
This is one of the favorite things I've ever seen.
Okay.
I jumped out. There were a bunch of steampunk people. This is in Tampa. There's a bunch of steampunk people, and they're hanging out outside the gate, and I'm doing crowd work out there, and there was a golf tournament or whatever, and the MetLife blimp was flying by.
Oh.
I was like, guys, your ride's here. Guys, your ride. And,
did you get a laugh? You must have got a laugh.
Yeah. But I woke up laughing about that for days. They're just, people are waiting for their friend.
Timing is perfect.
Oh my God. People are waiting for their friend, and they show up, and they're in the full steampunk. You're a time traveler? Yeah. Why are you late? It's your one thing you're good at.
It's the one. You have all the time in the world. You control time.
Right.
Yes. Yeah, that sort of tardiness is not approved. My ad. I'm about to do an ad. Hey, it's Storyworth.com. Storyworth is exactly what it sounds like. It's a storytelling website where you invite your whole family to tell stories about your family, and then they print a book at the end of the year. It's awesome. I sent it off to my sister. It's unlimited numbers of members of your family who can submit to this thing, by the way. What you do is you purchase a subscription for someone you love, and each week Storyworth sends them an email with a question about their life. They simply reply to this email. After a year, the stories will be bound into a beautiful keepsake book. Yes, you can send it to, extended family, too. It's a great way to stay in touch. You help to bridge some geographic distance. 1 year of weekly story prompts. That's what happened. At the end of the year, you get a hardcover printed book. It's black and white interior, color cover, up to 480 pages. You write the stories. You upload photos by email on the web or in the app. You save and edit all your stories on Storyworth.com. The data is obviously secure. Everything is private by default. You control who sees your stories. It's a great gift for a relative. There's, of course, Mother's Day and Father's Day. Even last minute, you can do it. For Rangers of the Dork Forest, you get $20 off. If you go to Storyworth.com/DorkForest to subscribe, you get $20 off the subscription. I've been guerrilla recording my dad. Anyway, I sent this off to my sister. She gets the questions every week. I get all the answers. I can't wait to see it in a book, quite honestly. So, if you want to do it, go to Storyworth.com/DorkForest and you get $20 off for the year. Let's get back into the show. Okay, my next question.
Yeah.
So it's England and Ireland and Wales and Scotland.
Or sometimes it's...
Is it Germany ever?
Well,
Is there Vikings? What's happening?
Yeah, sometimes they're Vikings.
Okay.
Sometimes they're Landsknecks.
What's a Landsknecht?
German mercenaries.
Okay.
And they have Landsknecht camps where they're like, this is what this sword is for. This is this kind of thing. This is, and they'll give history lessons. And here's how you wield a sword. This is actually for this. And they'll do demonstrations for that, which is super cool.
So it's a themed sort of period piece German thing.
So yeah.
Okay.
And different fairs will have this is this theme of this fair. Like this is the setting of this.
And it won't change weekend to weekend. It'll be like the run.
Right.
The run will be a theme.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's whoever's putting it on.
Yeah. They get to pick. Mm-hmm. They've done all the flyering. They get to be the ones.
And there's another group called the SCA, the Society for Creative Anachronism.
Right. Now I've met a couple of those people.
And that's kind of like the Civil War reenactors where...
Because they're super intense. Or they can be. Yeah. They can be very interested in accuracy.
Yeah, they don't like me a lot.
Oh, is Hob the Troll is not their favorite go-to?
No.
It turns out you and your kazoo.
Right.
And
they're like, I've had people, come up and say, what you're doing, it isn't period. It doesn't belong here. I'm like,
it makes me burn. It burns my eyes.
Like, you're wearing the thickest glasses I've ever seen, and your bare arms reveal your vaccination scar. Congratulations.
Right. We would both be dead within moments of being born in 1212.
Yeah. We're not knee deep in shit.
Exactly.
Let's just have a good time.
Right, we're just having fun.
There's a kid with a balloon.
Exactly. But I have met SCA. I have a friend who did. It's interesting. He would talk about how intense it could get and how he had to take breaks occasionally because it would get super committee meeting kind of, this and that kind of thing. But also he has one of the most beautiful. He had made, and it had to cost him $1,500 or something. Yeah. It was made out of curtains. It was a brocade, it was super thick.
Oh my God, yeah,
and quilted and beautiful, but it was pink because it was for a ball that was to benefit breast cancer research.
Oh wow!
And so he was wearing essentially an outfit from. The style was something like the late 1600s or late 1700s. I don't know enough about clothes, but and when is the Renaissance Festival? When was the Renaissance? Offhand, do you remember? Was it 1580 to 1700 or something?
Yeah,
is that
a little bit before that,
even earlier? Okay.
in both directions.
Oh, weird.
And there's different, there's the Italian Renaissance, and then there's, fairs that do just the Middle Ages, and there's, the fact that there's ATM machines, there's a lot of room to move around in.
Right. But what I will say is that Lee wearing that pink brocade suit was one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen in my life.
And
the workmanship was outstanding.
Some of the, there are some people who will do, period authentic glass blowing.
Oh, wow.
Right? Or straight up blacksmithing, and it's just like, yes, absolutely.
Oh, I want to watch that.
Yeah, and if you're into it for if you're in the SEA and you've got your campment set up and you're blacksmithing there and you've got the area, yes, 100% that, as opposed to a dodgeball arena, which has also been
available
at the festival.
Fair enough,
but they both have their place.
Sure.
But I totally get
and there's room for that.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And that's why Deadpool shows up. Because he's like, there's room for Deadpool, and you're like, there's the line for me. But the thing is it's also fun. As long as you're not a jerk about it. And just have fun. Go get yourself a turkey leg.
There's stuff for absolutely everybody.
Yeah.
So
people bring their kids, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
It's got to be all ages now.
Yeah. Unless it says this is an adults only show. It's probably okay.
Yeah,
the performers will let you know.
Right. If there's a 9-year-old in the front row, you're like, whenever in stand up, if there's a 9-year-old in the front row, I'm like, hope you're an old soul because we're gonna go some places.
Yeah, and we'll just for the bastard monks, I'll just be like, hey, this isn't gonna be good for you. This is gonna be upsetting, and I think you're gonna think that you're gonna be able to handle it, but you're gonna have some weird conversations in the car home.
Well, Dana Gould is a stand-up comic. He's one of your favorites, one of my favorites for sure. He's literally, he's amazing. Anyway, so. I opened for him back a while ago. I would open for him today. Please book me. Anyway, but the thing is he had just come off of writing for The Simpsons, and so a bunch of people in the audience were Simpsons fans. And so the manager, some lady brought her, I think he was her 7-year-old son. And the manager comes back into the green room. He said, I tried to talk her out of it. I put her in the back. I said, it's really an adult show. And Dana was like, yeah, I call my 5-year-old daughter a cunt.
Yeah.
It isn't okay.
When you were saying that, I'm like, which what material was he doing at that point?
Right. Yeah. I think it was an album ago. I think it's, I don't know how many albums.
My Thoughts on You or something like that?
Yeah, I think so. God. It wasn't Funhouse. That was, I think, Matt Weinholz. Anyway, I don't often get things mixed up, but whatever, it doesn't matter. I get things mixed up all the time. Who am I lying to? What's happening? Here's what I was going to tell you. I've lost my mind. That pottery,
yes,
is actually, I just remembered, we bought that at the Ren Faire.
Oh.
We went with an old friend of Andy's, Michael Everson, who's been on the show.
Okay.
His dorkdom, fonts, Fonts.
Oh.
He makes up fonts for dying and dead languages so that the last 6 Inuits can text each other.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Yeah, that's his fucking job. I have to go grab it for you so you can see it.
Yeah.
But tell me a thing.
Okay. There's shows for kids and there's shows for adults, but my buddy Liam, who's Harmless T. Jesterson, is a juggler.
Harmless T. Jesterson?
Yeah.
That's an awesome name.
And he has shows where it's just, oh my God, this is beautiful.
Yeah, it's got all kinds of different, it looks like it's opalized almost.
Yeah.
But I don't know what she did.
That is fantastic.
It's really gorgeous.
But just...
Anyway, the Jestersons?
Yeah, he...
I want him to be married, and I want him and his wife to be called the Jestersons.
But just, watching him just do, shows for just little kids and just watching the wonder. Because when I'm out there working, there are times where I'm just I'm tired. I've been sitting in the dirt. I've been breathing in this dust.
Right.
And I will go. There are people that I know who I will watch them perform, who I do D&D with.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, okay, my batteries are recharged.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I watch them and I watch their audience. And
yeah.
I'm like, oh, that
refills the well a little bit.
Yeah.
and then those wenches jump into it.
Right.
It's for example, the wenches. You might watch the wenches because they're a good time. Yeah, what kind of acts do you go and see? What are your faves?
The Splatter Time players
Make you laugh every time.
and I hang out with those. One of the guys I do the Bastard Monks with is the guy from Splatter Time.
Oh, okay.
And I'll watch that show. Abby Green. I haven't worked with her in a
What does she
while.
do?
She's a musician.
Okay.
And she sings beautiful songs.
It has an amazing voice.
Oh my God.
From the sound of it?
Yeah.
From the sound of your liking of her?
And I miss the hell out of her.
Yeah.
But that's the thing.
Abby Green?
Yeah, people work different fairs, or they go off and do another thing.
That's amazing.
I can work there, but I still have the wonder
Yeah.
that I did when I was like a kid and going.
That's worthwhile because
Like-
I don't know. I don't think anyone's getting rich doing the Ren Faire. Oh, I'm wrong? You think someone's getting rich doing the Ren Faire?
Well, it's
I suppose
if not successful.
Yeah.
Like there are people like people always, oh, what's your real job? I'm like, I get paid to do this.
Right, you get to do this for a living.
Yeah.
And it's not a shitty living,
Right.
it's a good living. That's good. That's amazing.
My buddy Clark, who does Dead Bob, and in Michigan,
What is Dead Bob?
it's a ventriloquist show, but he has a bag over his head and a skeleton puppet, and he just
That's the best way to not
my
have
God.
see your lips move.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, just put a bag over your head.
I'm not a very good ventriloquist. It turns out I write amazing jokes for skeleton puppets.
Yeah.
You don't want to look at my face.
But he just piles of money.
Oh my God.
Piles of singles and
That's hilarious.
20s and
Yeah.
But I was hanging out but I do know that I'm very lucky to do that when I'm doing that.
Sure.
When people are getting complaining, my buddy Jeremy, who's in a group called was in a group called the Body Boys.
The Body Boys?
Body Boys.
Okay.
And I'm like, he works like a dog, 2 days a week, 6 months a year. Come on, he's a very demanding.
Well, the thing is it sounds like 2 days a week, 6 months a year, but there's so much more to. I mean, it's like when people say stand-up comedy, but I also am very grateful because my schedule is much more flexible than someone who has to go to an office every day.
Yeah.
That's someone who has to make sure that they are at a place for 6 to 8 hours a day, or 10 to 12 hours a day, 6 days a week. So obviously it's a gift, but it is not as easy as people are like, so you work 1 hour a night. And I was like, stop talking.
Right.
And, oh, by the way, I have to correct something. This pottery was not made by a woman because it is signed on the bottom by a man named John Price.
Okay.
Does that say John Price?
Yes.
That's what I'd read. So, John, Jon. So, know in your hearts that if you're looking for a vase, that guy John Price is doing some nice work.
Yeah.
I don't know how he did that thing, but it's gorgeous.
Yeah.
It's all weirdly, just kind of, that blue is weird.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'll post a picture, Rangers. It'll be fine. So.
But it's
So this is going to come out we're in May right now, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so this will come out, I think, near the end of June.
Okay.
Are you working now? Is this a busy time?
Not for me. I've got another job.
Oh, okay. So you're working a different job right now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'll be starting up the one in Michigan soon.
Right. And because the ones in the north have to be spring, summer events, right? Maybe fall?
This one goes into fall.
Right.
And it's because I used to live there, and I get to be in Michigan when it's nice.
It's gorgeous.
It's summer going into fall, and as I'm leaving, that's when the leaves are changing.
Right.
And I'm like, okay, the roads are going to start getting bad. I'm going back home.
The roads are literally going to get bad, and you wonder why are they still getting bad? I mean, you have plows, but I remember in most of the '90s and early 2000s, I drove around the Midwest doing stand up, and it would be like these whiteout situations where you're like,
The roads are bad, so somebody's like, well, I need to get a truck to deal with the roads being bad.
Right.
So they get a truck that's too big for them, they don't need.
Right.
Which adds more weight to the roads, which makes them worse.
Yes.
So that more people have to work on them, and then everyone's like, well, it's just a cycle.
Yeah.
And it just,
But I'll tell you something, the UP, I used to do a joke about, because I would do the UP regularly, the Upper Peninsula, and it is one of the most beautiful places I've ever been in the world. It is so gorgeous. The joke was just that nobody cared about was that I know why the Indians are still mad because it's gorgeous. Please leave. And you're like, fair enough. I understand why you're angry. Oh, I'm going to go do that Indian casino. It'll be fine. And my favorite thing about northern Michigan and northern Wisconsin is that there's 2 Indian casinos. There's one outside of Green Bay and there's one outside of it's 3 words. It's Canadian almost. Whatever. But they both have ads to go to the other one. They're like, need to get away? Go to Green Bay and go to the Indian casino down there instead of the Indian casino that you're right at. And you're like, it's just the same. It's the same weird casino carpeting and slot machines. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, I will.
I was in one for a gig. Because that's the other thing. Sometimes I will be hired to do my weird Renaissance characters at like a corporate event or whatever. And
right. They're like, we need you at this private event.
Yeah. And there was one at a casino, and I went in and I'm like, oh, I remember when everything smelled like this. When everyone was
smelled the
smoking.
same.
Yeah.
Oh, it's grim.
Oh.
Yeah, don't go into the buffet. Steam table food has its own odor. Steve O'Dockerson.
Yes.
You've done vital work here. I have to tell you, we're pushing an hour. We're pushing an hour here. So, and I want to tell people it's hobthetroll.com, and this covers album looks awesome. That you're leaving this with me?
Yes.
I appreciate that.
I'm also, I have a podcast. I'm on hiatus, but it'll probably be out, be back on by the time this airs. It's called The Hobcast.
It's called The Hobcast, why wouldn't it be called The Hob? That's excellent. Well done. Do you speak of troll things? What do you speak of?
It's I do the whole thing in character.
Oh, fun.
And it's a way to, like, kind of, for me to meet people who don't. People who work the Renaissance Festival that I want other people to know about, and then people who don't work the Renaissance Festival that I kind of wanted to work with.
Okay.
Like Hal Lublin has been on.
Okay. He's a delight.
Yeah.
He talked about Saturday Night Live here on the Dork Forest.
Yeah.
I don't know anything about Saturday Night Live. Now I know slightly more. It's
Mary Jo Pehl and Trace Ballou have been on.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So I think Trace is the only member of Mystery Science Theater I haven't had on the Dork Forest.
Oh, wow.
We've got to collect the whole set. And Mary Jo Pehl, Employee of the Month, is a book that I have in my bathroom because it's a bathroom book.
Yes, she's wonderful.
And she's a fucking hilarity.
Yes.
So at Hob the Troll on Twitter, and Steve O'Dockerson, you guys, and Ren Fairs all over the Midwest, probably this late summer and fall, right?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you so much for doing the Dork Forest.
The pleasure is all mine.
All right. And Rangers, you know the rules out there. Take care of each other.
My hat, my hat, my hat. They're dancing around my hat. My hat, my hat, my hat. Well, what do you think of that? If it looks like a Mexican hat dance and it sounds like a Mexican hat dance, it's most likely a Mexican hat dance. So take off your hat and let's dance.
Yay! Oh, my God. Why don't we just call that as the end of the show?